Hi, everyone. I'm Xilin from the client growth team. I'm a product manager there. So today I would like to talk about the kind of top of funnel piece, which is, okay, how do people even hear about us? And what are the opportunity existing out there before, anybody want to store data on Filecoin, what options they have, right? And specifically, I want to use the analytics angle to pinpoint those problems and identify the solutions to address that. So let's get started. And before I talk about all the fun stuff related to data onboarding, I want to bring your attention to the first principle of any analytics, which is better data lead to better insight, lead to better decisions. What does that mean? As probably a lot of you heard about it, like garbage in, garbage out, right? So in order to have really powerful analytics, we need to have better data inputs. And the better data we have eventually gonna lead better decisions and eventually gonna drive the growth for the business. So I want to put this principle into practice by showing you two examples that are related to the recent project I'm working on. The first example is how do we leverage a higher intent website to onboard more clients? So as you can see, this is the growth loop. Eventually, we want to have a website that with better intent that can demonstrate the value prop of our Filecoin storage. So eventually, that will lead to more interesting clients. So I want to first show you what bad data look like. So here is basically in the past, we had a website to help clients who want to onboard large data. And if you look at the funnel here, that website had over 80% bounce rate in the past. So imagine right now after the conference, if people who want to store the data, they usually go to that website and immediately bounce off. And although there are thousands leads collected through that website, 60% of people they just want to learn more about Filecoin. They are not even at the stage to onboard the data yet. Given the lead form the stats we collected, which means the previous website didn't really point out the value prop of why you need to store on Filecoin, and let alone eventually convert probably less than 1% clients that eventually onboard data with us. So how do we flip that? The solution I want to introduce here is after diagnosing the problem, we noticed that there was a ton of problem with the previous website. So I'm really excited today we launched a new website. The data onboarding, Filecoin data onboarding website is actually just live today, and I want to just briefly walk you through that. Awesome. So. Yeah, so as you can see, okay, this is the new website, and as a potential any user, right? If you want to onboard your data, this is the first page. Will give you two options: simple applications or large data. So what does that mean? That means if you want to just store some personal file or personal assets with Filecoin. Naturally, you might be clicking, okay, what those simple applications look like, right? And then you get to the solution discovery page that actually demonstrate a couple of solutions for you. For example, if you are an NFT artist. If you are trying to find a secure and reliable way to store NFT, you can leverage the NFT.storage. And when you click more, it will link you to the NFT.storage directly that you can get started right away. And versus, okay, if you are a storage provider that have or like a large client data owner, right, that you want to back up your data on Filecoin today, we also have so many like great tools built by the ecosystem and also PL to help you get started. For example, Singularity, S3, and like big data exchange. So they are a couple. Essentially, this try to be like a one-stop shop to give you the options that to allow users to choose the solutions that fit their needs. And the goal for that one is aim to address the problem. The data just show us, right? People don't know where they can find those solutions. Now you have a go-to one single page. And also, we have a case study. We have case study session. A lot of I actually got asked this question a lot. Like, how do who are exactly onboarding data on Filecoin, right? Like, what are the use cases we have? So on this website, it also demonstrates a couple of key use cases that are currently happening in our ecosystem. First, we already have enterprise and also like university on board like data, archive their data with us that are like hundreds gigabytes scale. And also we partner with Internet Archive and Starting Lab to preserve humans' most important information. That is also great use cases that already exist. And if you click, read more, there are more details about those case study. And last but not least, storing data on Filecoin is also a great. We also care about the ownership of digital assets, right? That's why a lot of people are in the Web3 space. That we care about the privacy. We want to own our own data. So by leveraging Filecoin storage, you can do that as well. We have partners like OpenSea that already store a lot of NFT. And just want to briefly touch on the two buttons here. Get started. If once you click get started, it will link you to the kind of basic explanation of what's the process of onboarding data with us without getting into too much nitty-gritty details about the technical component. And and also like if you are large potential large enterprise client, when you hit get in touch, we have the nice form built by Nick, see right there, to collect the detailed information about you, so we can eventually really get to understand those client preference at the first spot. Here are some very phenomenal use cases that already existed. So now let's move back to where we are here. And if you are interested, you can scan the QR code here and get your data onboarded today. I might just spend 10 seconds here, just in case anyone is interested to learn about this website more, and also share with any SPs, clients, or the potential token holders you met through this conference, or people you work with. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, great job on the website. It looks amazing. One question I had was specifically for enterprise clients. I think I was just trying to, as I was seeing it when I, and you go to that section where you have at least 5 options as an enterprise client, are we expecting the clients to learn about all the different on-ramps, or do you eventually see one kind of way in which they don't have to learn about S3 and Singularity right in the front? Because I'm assuming this is for someone new to Filecoin, right? And I was wondering how are we thinking about that from a data onboarding perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for this website, this is the first version, and the intent is more try to get the folks that at least have a small understanding of Filecoin, and try to get them engaged and involved. And V2, once we have better understanding of how people gonna navigate through a bunch of options that we are offering, we will start to have the V2 version of the website, which is to tailor the user needs, right? For example, any users, we will give you curated solutions based on your needs. But that will come later because right now we are at the step 1 that we don't have a one-stop shop for all the solutions we have and all the latest development are happening in the ecosystem. So we want to use this opportunity to kind of podcast a little bit just as a first step. And the second step, we will start to have curated content based on users' needs. So definitely like this question and want to share the direction we are going. Yeah, I'm actually also curious about, Charles, your opinion, right? Like your product is featured on this website. How do you think, this will be benefit for the adoption?
I was in the computing over data summit this morning, so I see there's lots of user cases, not only for the data owners who want to use to persist their data on Filecoin network to get a long-term storage, but it's also useful for scientific researchers and other developers to use it as a replacement for centralized storage solutions like a Google Drive or Sandbox. So you can get more use cases there. And as a computing engine started next year, computing over data, there will be more requests and more needs for those applications. And we can see that there was a couple of different solutions like NFT storage, Web3 storage, multi-chain storage. Each of them have their unique features. For example, NFT storage is dedicated to NFT onboarding, while the multi-chain storage is enable multi-chain payment to use Filecoin. And the Web3 storage also focus on other cases. So there will be great user cases for different domains and give our users, Web3 developers, more choices when they want to store the data on Filecoin network.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Storage is the first step, and then compute, retrieve, and eventually we will bring everything together. Great point. Awesome. So let's move on to the second example. If we don't have questions about this website, but definitely feel free to reach out to me with all the great feedback on continuously developing the website. Well, so the second example I want to walk through is how the better Datacap application process lead to eventually unlock more clients that could onboard data. So as previously I mentioned, it's not just about developing awesome tools, but also about how to make sure people hear about those tools, right? How do we actually strengthen the data quality at the top of funnel? But also once we got a potential client interested, based on the current process, they need to apply Datacap. Datacap is the process is very similar like when you apply a mortgage that you need to get things validated, and then you can show that show to the bank that you are qualified for the house you want, right? So same thing here. I want to briefly touch on the Datacap application process. So there are a lot of personas involved in this ecosystems, and we try to operate the Datacap application process as open as we can. So right now, as a client, in order to request the Datacap, everything is happening in the GitHub. And once you fill out 16 questions that got asked on GitHub, which will be passed around to notaries, and then you will be able to eventually get a Datacap if it meets the threshold or the qualification. But as you can see here, the process is pretty painful. As a client, you basically work on a GitHub Markdown to eventually, write paragraphs for each questions. And if we are thinking about eventually we want to make this process as simple as just apply a mortgage in the application step, then we might need a lot of like improvements in the first step, so we could actually get better insights, better data, go back to the loop I previously mentioned. So to a brief overview of the Datacap application process problem. First, poor user experience for the applicants. Also, it might lead to like kind of go back and forth between notary and governance team as text form might lead to a lot of potential like issues when you like just type things, right? And lastly, we also probably miss the opportunity to work with community and inform our community that those are the top 5 use cases of the client, because we see most of the applicants are in this field, or we miss opportunity to improve our products given we have 600 applications flowing active so far. So the methodology here is just first, given most of the answers are in text in paragraph, I applied the GPT-3, which is an awesome AI understanding model to standardize, to try to understand, those language and synthesize the information. So eventually we could provide, simple drop downs to our applicants to really make that to really make it as simple as apply a mortgage when you fill out the application. And the interesting part is in Web3, we also need to review all those, at least in this case, review the information, the changes with community. So eventually we want to utilize those insights to standardize answers. So what's the possible impact for making this data application as simple as possible? First, we can delight communities. It reduces the barrier to fill out the applications, and we can potentially convert more clients at the very beginning. They are not afraid, by the 16 questions and writing all those paragraphs at the beginning. And also potentially reduce the back and forth for notary and governance to go over the applications, track those stats over and over again. And lastly, lead to better insights, so to not just help the community, but also PR team to improve the process and product. And next, I just want to quickly double click on the methodology. Again, like first text analytics, then insight synthesis. Review the proposal internally, and last, I want to highlight, review the proposal externally. It's all operating like openly in GitHub at this stage, and we have like those governance call with the community notary very frequently. So yeah, and after doing the synthesis, here are the insights. So after out of this 600 Datacap application, we noticed that. For the question, how long do you plan to keep your data set on Filecoin? About half of them answered forever, which indicated, they are we have that kind of product market fit, at least the client interest in storing data long term. And for the question, what is expected retrieval frequency for this data? Anybody want to guess? What's the answer distribution? Well, 3, 2, 1. So 30% of them, they are actually, answering like rarely or never. That means either, this is cold storage, or that might indicate, there's some limit. There's some. There might be a situation that we do have this, cold storage compliance use case that you want to store your data forever and never retrieve. But if we think about the usefulness of data, right? We eventually, I guess, in the world, in the society, most of the data, if it's truly useful, besides cold storage, we also have some hot storage, right? We also have a lot of use cases that need retrieve frequently. So when you see those two insights combined, I think the conclusion is, at least based on the current product market fit, or at least based on how client interpret our storage solution. They view Filecoin storage as an archival solution, like long-term, low to near zero retrievability. And if when we think about, there are so many exciting stuff developing in the ecosystem, like computing, retrievability, I think it's time for us to also go out there to promote, the capability beyond, archiving, and that's why the website work is all, kind of combined together to really try to shift gears, to really demonstrate, okay, what are other capabilities for Filecoin storage solutions. Cool. And eventually, this is the before and after, right? Before, those are all the questions that people can just write the answers. But after synthesize those information, we are releasing this new Datacap application form with very clear drop down, like what's the expected frequency of your data. As you previously seen in the inside, we have like, the answer distribution like this. So we can just, give user this drop down and actually get them answer in a very much simpler way. Well, so that kind of concludes my my talk, and really just excited to share the latest update for this website. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to connect me through Slack, Twitter. I'm here to answer all your questions related to data onboarding. But definitely, one last thought. Ideally, we want it to be self-serve as well, right? So at the end of the day, if the ultimate goal is, okay, any user who want to store data with Filecoin, we offer you a one-stop shop. We offer you like a very simple solutions that you can just navigate through the website and identify it. But so that's the hope for what the website can achieve. Any questions?
I noticed that there was a process about the data onboarding. So now the data onboarding process is like root key holders and notaries sign up. So you see like there was a couple like S3 and other entities who is also doing data onboarding, right? Whereas those data onboarding one day become entry point or some kind of like onboarding agencies in the future, so they can distribute it some, because like let's take some payment company as well. Like currently, like a payment company, they maybe have lots of corporate like onboarding agencies help them doing onboarding. They cannot do everything by themselves. That's overloaded. So I'm wondering why one day those data onboarding enterprise become agencies as well.
Yeah, so to repeat the question back, are you asking like eventually data onboarding could be a service? So like we have like a kind of data vendor can take care of all the like heavy lifting.
Actually, it's a little bit different, like when you're served as onboarding agencies. But now, like if people, for example, using first one's onboarding services, actually all the Datacap is consumed is our Datacap. But actually, like different people using different services, they have different source. So instead of let them individually to apply Datacap and get the key by themselves, what we probably can do in the future is that first one can become an onboarding agent. We get some Datacap distributed to them. They can using the tools with the key together. So it can increase, provide a better onboarding experience and also reduce the effort on the product or Filecoin Foundation side.
Yeah, I like that idea. And in fact, we already have some product in the ecosystem now doing that, right? For example, Venus Accelerator, they are actually, helping the client apply Datacap on behalf of them. So we can offload those burden of the client. But I would say this is pretty much an evolving process, right? Maybe like down the road, 6 months from now, Datacap is no longer a blocker, right? It's just as simple as like a process that anybody can just do it. So I would say like, well, we have both options. We just need to see, how I think eventually remove the Datacap as a bottleneck, right? No matter it's to outsource that kind of service with others or it's to make Datacap as simple as possible. I think which way, both way will do the trick.